It's the announcement guy. I'm back. I got so many cards and letters. I knew you people wanted to see me again. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about what's been going on in the youth ministry. And I brought a couple of my friends here to help me. I'm going to start with Stacy Butters, our youth director.
Well, we are so excited that we have been able to find new ways to connect with all of you during these times. So we have really up-leveled our website, our social media, and a lot of the ways that we get to connect. We're doing online lessons, we're doing Zoom groups, especially with our teen underground, those middle schoolers and high schoolers. You know, summer is typically camp season for us, and our Sprout Camp was all online, and that was super successful. And our Rainbow Day Camp was actually a hybrid in that we did Rainbow Day Camp in a box, and it had an online quotient to it. So some really cool ways that we've been able to connect this summer, and I can't wait until we can connect a bit more on campus.
Thanks, Stacy. I also wanted to introduce you to the director of our preschool, Monica Liotta.
Thanks, Barry. Yeah, we're really excited to offer a program this fall called Children's Enrichment Center Hybrid Plus. It gives kids a chance to come be right here on our Frog Playground for one day a week in person, some social time, and we're having so much fun out here. And then they get a couple days remote where we're doing things like art class online, and we're really excited to host the International Music Together program here at our school this year, so we get music class. Email me to sign up, mleota@milehighchurch.org, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Monica. I want to remind you too, I have a Love and Logic workshop coming up for parenting tweens and teens that starts on September 3rd. Hope to see you there. Well, it's great to be back. It's so exciting to be here. We look forward to having our kids back with us, and I hope that they'll bring some of their parents too. Have a great week.
Hello, Mile High. It's so great to hear what the youth ministry, youth and family ministry is doing under the direction of Stacy Butters. Congratulations, Stacy, and to your entire team for doing all the good that you can for our kids. I cannot do all good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. The band sounds so good this morning, don't they? I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
Jennifer and Burnett and our Mile High Band, thank you to them. Thank you to you for all of us being together today. You are Mile High Church, and it's so good to create sanctuary together. And right now in our world, Mile High Church is more necessary than ever. You know, in times where the world feels unsafe, we seek to be a place and a consciousness of sanctuary wherever we are. In a time where things may seem incredibly confusing, we seek to be a presence for clarity. In times of division and separateness, we remember our unity and our wholeness. We remember our divine destiny as human beings to bring the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of good on earth for ourselves and for all. And so as we recite our vision and mission statement this morning, let us just not know it for us collectively, but for ourselves individually. So our vision: oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. and our mission to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. We are all beacons, and so grateful to have this service be a beacon for so many this morning. So grateful to Jennifer Burnett and our Mile High Band. So grateful to Reverend Michelle Scavetta, who will be giving a power talk this morning, and I'm so grateful to share a message with you on the incredible creative power of no. So with that, any part of us that's on the fringes, let's just let that fall away and come back to center. Come back to our wholeness, come back to that place of divine remembering as we move into this time of song and of prayer.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Ah, yes. Surely the presence of God is in this place, and each individual who is in this place, wherever this place may be, because we know that God is all there is, and God is encircling this world, no matter what appearances are. We say a special prayer for those who are suffering from hurricanes, from fires, from unrest, from things that are hurting their souls. And I know in my very heart that each of us, as we hold on to that God Spirit, knows that God is all there is. And as we go to that space where God is, we're filled. And then we can fill everyone around us, and our world can find peace and love and joy. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for this beautiful Colorado day. Thank you for all of those who are going to hear Reverend Michelle and Reverend Josh today and be touched and know that it is all right to say no. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for the gift of love, friendship, relationships, and peace. So we step into this service knowing that we feel the presence and the power of God surging through us. And that is all there has to be. And so it is.
Every morning, the light keeps getting brighter as I wake up to the truth. And every day, I'm feeling so much lighter, and the world seems fresh and new. What I was taught and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Each day I start anew, and so I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away.
What a touching song. Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so grateful to be here with you. Today is a very important threshold on my journey of ministry, as today is the first day that I get to give a talk on a Sunday here at Mile High Church. So I'm just so blessed and so grateful for this opportunity. And today what I wanted to talk about is this idea of balanced living. Do you have the goal, the vision for a balanced life? I know for me, at least, balanced life feels like so far off. It feels like it's maybe not even possible some days. It feels like it's an illusion some days. But what if balanced living is what we came here to learn and is what we came here to model to other people around us? One part of balanced living is exploring, where are you on your priority list? Are you at the top of your priority list every day? Or, in reflection, do you notice that you often find yourself, that you've put yourself at the bottom of your list? Maybe if there's enough time or you have enough energy at the end of the day, that's when you nurture yourself. That's when you fill your cup. For me, balanced living, I've noticed that the majority of my life, I have put myself at the bottom of my list. I've learned that giving and supporting others is somehow more important than supporting myself. Or maybe that's just a trap I've fallen into because I love to be of service to other people. I think in our society, sometimes the misconception is when we give to others, when we put other people first, that is a sign of being selfless. It's a quality of being selfless. But yet, when we put ourselves first, sometimes we're seen as being selfish. But the idea of constantly putting other people first, sometimes at the detriment of our own life, it's not sustainable. I think the paradigm, the pattern is backwards. When we put ourselves first, we are able to give from the overflow. And so that's the second part of my talk title today, Balanced Living, Living from the Overflow. Now, if you've been on an airplane at all, you recall that time in the instructions where they're telling you about your oxygen mask and how important it is that you must put your oxygen mask on first before you help anybody else. Now, they're not saying put your mask on first and then do nothing. Put your mask on first and then help anybody else around you that may need a little bit more support. Sometimes I've seen this meme recently in the past few months where there's this picture of a battery and it says, You'll never let your cell phone battery go to zero. But we don't think about when our own bodies, our own life gets depleted because we're constantly giving and giving and giving, and we forget, or sometimes we just run out of time. I know for me, it's a work in progress of putting myself first, finding the little things in my life, the practices that can help fill my cup. And the other concept, similar to putting your mask on first, is you cannot serve from an empty cup. When you're feeling depleted, that's oftentimes when you're feeling run down or perhaps when you get sick. So what if we shift that paradigm? We find ways to nurture ourselves, to nourish every part of our being, because interestingly enough, we are a multifaceted being. We have our physical body, we have our mental health, we have our soul, and we have our heart. So the 4 different areas. What are some ways that you find filling your cup helps you to nourish those areas of your life? Maybe for nourishing your body, you can go for a walk, being out in nature. Maybe nourishing your body is preparing a healthy meal, consciously preparing a healthy meal. Nourishing your soul could be tuning in right here to your spiritual community, or developing a meditation practice or a spiritual practice that fills your soul, that nurtures your soul. And perhaps nurturing your mind is turning off social media, turning off the screens, and just curling up with a good book. And nurturing your heart, maybe that is connecting with loved ones, with family, even if it's virtually. Finding ways in your life every day, ideally, to nurture yourself, to replenish your cup so that you can give from the overflow. Because what's interesting, and I invite you to try this out for yourself, to just be a scientist in your own life and see if it works for you. But when you fill your own cup first, and you give from the overflow, that inner well is never depleted, and you are actually able to serve and support more people when you are able to love, to live, to give from that space of overflow. And so if we have come here to be the change that we wish to see in the world, we have to be willing to start right where we are, to start within. And so I invite you this week to find ways to fill your cup first, instead of sometimes, not you, but some people, the first thing in the morning, first thing they do is maybe to check social media, to check the news. But what if you take a break from that for one morning as being the first thing you do in the morning, and instead you find a way to nurture yourself, to fill your cup. Because when we fill our cups and we live from that space of balanced living and we live from the overflow, that is where the divine has access to express itself a bit more freely and effortlessly through our lives. That's where our power and possibility becomes even greater. So this week, I just invite you to at least consider one way that you can fill your cup in each area of mind, body, soul, and heart. And just notice how much richer your life is when you come from the overflow. And so in this moment, I just invite you to just know that God is right here with us, waiting to express itself easily, effortlessly, and with divine intention throughout every area of our life. And I just pass this on to Jennifer and the band with a powerful song of Taking Back Our Life.
Thank you, Reverend Michelle. This song seems like maybe a bit of a departure from the incredible creative power of saying no, but for me, it's a struggle to say no. And there is a fight inside me every time I say no, thinking I should have. why didn't I? Oh, I'm going to let somebody down. So this is about my fight song. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain, I will scream them loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. And I'll play my fight song. 'Cause I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. I'm in too deep. Yeah, I'm in too deep. It's been 2 years, I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my bones. I still believe. Yeah, I still believe. And all of those things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain, I will scream them loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. And I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. 'Cause this is my fight song. Hey! Take back my life song. Hey! Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. And I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Yeah, I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
Thank you, Jennifer Burnett. Thank you, our Mile High Band. Thank you, Reverend Michelle Scavetta. I feel like my soul's getting a nice bath today, a great cleansing. And it's so good to be here this morning. You know, my prayer as a minister on a Sunday morning isn't that I say something inspiring that is new to you. You know, my prayer, and it's the great honor of being a minister here at Mile High, is to represent your wisdom. My prayer is that something comes from my soul and my voice that speaks to you, something you already know within you. And so my prayer is that you hear something like that today. I'd like to begin by telling a story about an ancient Chinese philosopher named Xuanzi. And Xuanzi was fishing in the river one day when representatives of the king came to visit him to plead and to ask him to come be the prime minister of the country. And Xuanzi replied, "Is it true that the king has a 1,000-year-old tortoise?" "Yes," the representatives replied. "It's wrapped in silks and placed upon the most beautiful altar in all of the kingdom. Well, tell me, Shuangzi asked, would you prefer to be a 1,000-year-old tortoise wrapped in silks on an altar, or would you rather be a living turtle here in this river dragging your tail in the mud? And the representatives had to admit that they'd rather be the living turtle dragging its tail in the mud. Well, Shuangzi said, you go back to your kingdom. I'm going to stay here dragging my tail in the mud. And it's a simple story, but it's powerful to me for two reasons. First, that most important spiritual lesson, enjoy your life. Enjoy life. Accolades are great, accomplishments are great, but so is having fun and being present. Second, very rare that you get a spiritual story where the hero says no. Normally that leads to being in the belly of a whale, not answering the call. But Shuangzi says no. And it speaks to my message topic today, the incredible creative power of no. My message today is that no can be as important an affirmation as yes when applied correctly. For a lot of us, we don't like using this word no because we see it as a negative. If I say no, I might be seen as being rude. If I say no, I might look like I'm not a team player, like I don't want to help out, that it's only my self-interests that are important to me. If I say no, it might in a spiritual sense be like denying God's will because every opportunity is created for me by the universe to accept and step into, and before you know it, you're overwhelmed. Being a minister, I've had to learn, especially in the busyness of big church, to say no around protecting that most important yes, to put God first in my life, to put that spiritual practice in the morning that Michelle was talking about first. If I couldn't do that, would I know? It doesn't mean that everything else comes second. It means that if I didn't put that spiritual practice first, I wouldn't be able to put others first. I wouldn't have the full cup to be able to do what I do. And many of us, perhaps we don't think we have a problem saying no, but pay attention to these possible symptoms. Do you ever feel like you live more on someone else's clock than your own? Do you ever feel taken advantage of, or perhaps even a little resentful of people you work with or people you love? Do you ever feel like your talents and abilities aren't properly being fully utilized in your life? Or do you ever feel close to that experience called burnout? So many of us who've been working from home during this coronavirus time, we've learned that we have trouble saying no because it never seems like we can stop working. We're always wondering, did I do enough? That the things that really matter to us in life can sometimes suffer. This is where no becomes so vital and important. So I'm going to invite you, wherever you are, to say it with me. No. Repeat after me. No. No, no, no. Now let's try to say it in a positive sense. No. No, thank you. I've considered your request, and I've decided the answer is no. Yeah, it's not too hard, is it? In this time of coronavirus, for many of us with busy lives, perhaps the only thing we're sure of right now is we don't want to go back to the busyness of the way things used to be. In this time, and what better time to stop and ask ourselves, am I living a life that is truly satisfactory to my heart and my soul, to how I want to be living? And perhaps the answer isn't a full-out no, but perhaps it's not entirely yes. Perhaps there's more that we can do, both with what to say yes to and to say no to help us live in greater harmony with our own being. Greg McKeown wrote a great book several years ago called Essentialism, and he puts it simple. He says, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. And he has this powerful statement about our choices. He says, if you have correctly identified what really matters, if you invest your time and energy into it, then it is difficult to regret the choices you make. You become proud of the life you have chosen to live. And so I want to talk about some strategies today to utilize, emphasize, and manifest that powerful, incredible word and choice called no. The first thing is to realize that no can be the other side of yes. No is the other side of yes. Now, before no can be the other side of yes, you have to really know in your life what you're saying yes to. So take a moment. What is it in your life that you want to most say yes to? For me, I want to say yes to being more present and loving of the people I care about most, my wife and children especially. I want to say yes to creative time, to read and write and just simmer in my own spirit. I want to say yes to being in physical well-being, to taking good care of myself. You see, for me, and I don't know about for you, those yeses are actually easy choices to make. It's making the no's that protect those choices that's difficult for me. It's easy to say yes to being present and loving to my family. It's freaking hard to say no to putting my cell phone away. Stop checking those emails. It's easy for me to say yes to creative personal time. It's hard for me to say no to that last-minute meeting request, to not pick up that phone call of someone I want to be there for. It's easy for me to say yes to being thin. It's so hard for me to say no to eating that cupcake that's offered to me. See, when we truly design a creative life, our no's exist to protect our yes. In the game of life, we might say, your yeses are your offense. They're all directed at fulfilling your goals, to scoring that touchdown. But you have to have a defense too. And your no's are your defense. Your no's are there to protect your goal, to help ensure where it is that you want to reach in your life. And if you're missing one, you're missing the other. But they can work together strongly. I was once working with an incredible young woman who had been in a relationship for a couple years that wasn't going anywhere. And so her question was, how can I break up with this guy? I've tried to, and yet the conversation always goes around how he's not behaving the way that I want him to. And so what happens is he promises to change his behavior, does for about a week, and then things go back to where they've been. And this guy wasn't a bad guy, he was a great guy, but he wasn't in alignment with what she really wanted. You know, and how do you break up with someone in the time of coronavirus these days? You know, do you just change your relationship status on Facebook without telling them? Do you try only texting and emojis for a while? Do you say this quarantine thing's working really good for me, I'm just going to stay at home? You know, it's amazing all the dishonest ways we can create sometimes because we're afraid to be honest, because we're afraid to be direct, because we're afraid to say no. And so this incredible young woman, what she did is she really took time to clarify her yes. What is it that I really and truly want in a relationship? I want a mutually supportive relationship. I want someone not to just hang out with and enjoy life with, but someone who's dedicated to their own personal growth and our own growth as a couple. I want to be with someone who wants to have children and raise a family. I want someone who's committed through partnership to building a great life. When she got clear on what she really wanted, it was so clear that the relationship she was in was over. Because no longer was it about him. No longer was it about what she didn't want. Now it was all about her yes. And the breakup was complete. Was he disappointed? Yes. But not only did she break up with him, but she also broke up with that kind of relationship because of her clarity about what she wanted in her life. When you allow no to be the other side of yes, we live a double affirmation with great clarity. Second strategy, the next time you say no, say yes. The next time you say no, say yes. Let me explain what I mean by that. Say no out loud, but within, affirm what you're saying yes to. Let me get back to that cupcake. When someone says, Josh, would you like this delicious cupcake? And I say, no, thank you, I am lying. I want that cupcake. And, I try to be an authentic person. I authentically want that cupcake. I authentically want 5 cupcakes. But my answer is no thank you when I can remember my yes. My big yes, which is I want to be healthy. I want to have a routine of taking care of myself. Without that yes, my no breaks down. So using that no to protect that big yes allows us to realize that there's no such thing as a no in negative terms. It's only there to build up the strength of our yes. In McCown's book, Essentialism, he tells the story told to him by a woman named Cynthia, who happened to be the daughter of the late, great Stephen Covey, who wrote 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. And they had planned this father-daughter date for quite some time. They were going to go to San Francisco, they were going to take the train car, they were going to get off and go shopping, have dinner at a Chinese restaurant, and then go catch a movie. So they get off the train car, and immediately Covey runs into an old college friend and business associate. They hug and they embrace and they're talking for a few minutes, and the man says, you know what, you two, I'm going to treat you to dinner at the finest restaurant in San Francisco. We're going to have such a good time. Right now, let's go. And Covey responds, that sounds wonderful. And Cynthia shares that in that moment, my heart began to sink. I was so disappointed. But then my father said, but the answer's no. I have very important plans with my very special daughter this evening. And Cynthia shared that in that moment, it bonded me to my father forever because I knew I was a priority to him. How often, perhaps unconsciously, have we said a yes in order to please someone out of fear of saying no, and perhaps put a nick or a scratch on a relationship or a bond that's so important to us? McKeown, he shares, learn to say no firmly, resolutely, and yet gracefully. Because once we do, we find not only that our fears of disappointing or angering others were exaggerated, but that people actually respect us more. I have found it almost universally true that people respect and admire those with the courage of conviction to say no. So are you ready to practice using a bit more no in your life? Do you want to say it with me again? No. No. No, thank you. I've considered your offer, and I'm really grateful to tell you no, because my yes is this. And it doesn't have to be offensive. There's nothing more powerful or creative in your life than knowing who you are and knowing what you want. And trust me, no one wants to get in your way of fulfilling that vision. Be honest, be willing, and it leads to my third point today, which is about boundaries. The idea that the stronger your boundaries, the better your life. The stronger your boundaries, the better your life. Boundaries, like this word no, sometimes has this negative connotation to it. I have a lot of boundaries, which means I have lots of walls. No one can get into my heart. I never let my hair down. Someone who has a lot of boundaries is very untrusting. But to me, the opposite is true. Boundaries aren't walls. Boundaries are guidelines in which we can share and cultivate intimate and sacred space together. And it's not only so important to know what your boundaries are individually, but in those relationships that matter most to you. When I hear a friend who's getting a divorce or a breakup and they say something like, we just grew further and further apart, I can't help but pause and say, perhaps the problem isn't that you moved further and further apart, it's that you never knew the tools to grow closer and closer together. And that's a challenge for many of us when we look back at our past relationships to the ones now. But to be able to remember that clear boundaries cultivate intimacy, cultivate connection, cultivate honesty, and can cultivate a powerful yes and a powerful no in a way that's mutually supportive. So know what your boundaries are. What are your physical boundaries? If you're on Facebook, put on your safe word. We want to hear what it is. What are your physical boundaries, which have to do with touch, but they have to do with your time. They have to do with your space. Know what your physical boundaries are. Know what your boundaries are around communication. What does it mean to have a safe place to exchange ideas and listen to one another? What are your communication boundaries? We're at a moment in history right now where there are a lot of issues going on in our world that are personally affecting us, or we are personally being asked to be a part of. Coronavirus. How soon am I supposed to get back to life as is? What am I supposed to believe about how serious this crisis is and what to do about it? Many of us are being asked to look at racism in a way that we never have before, to do our part to see what is my stuff that may contribute to a world that's not working for all those around me. Why are dozens of NBA players and athletes refusing to play right now? There are so many important discussions that need to be had, but the boundaries aren't there to connect. So the communication boundaries, I would love to talk about these things with you, but is there listening? Is there a willingness to be non-judgmental? Is there a willingness to have us both deepen in our conversation, to leave the conversation better than we left it? But if it's not safe, I don't want to have the conversation. Having the conversation in your Facebook comment thread probably isn't a safe place. So we want to seek to know what our boundaries are so that we can all do our work to help make our lives better and our communities and society better as well. What are your communication boundaries? And lastly, what are your self-care boundaries? To Michelle's incredible point, how much of your cup do you need to keep filled up to live your life in a way that's thriving? Not just for you, but in supporting those around you. Is it 20 minutes of meditation time in the morning? Is it making sure you get that long walk in 3 days a week? Is it only watching an hour of news instead of 8 hours of news? What are those self-care boundaries where you can say yes and no to yourself in an empowered and powerful way? Because again, it's our ability to know what our yes is, which isn't just a distant star. It's the possibility and the calling of how to live today in our own heart. And when we don't say yes to what our heart wants, we suffer. We stumble. Our spirits feel asleep. But as we again nurture our heart's yes and protect it by being willing to say no, we do not only what's best for us, but what's best for all those around us. For as our founder, Ernest Holmes, told us, that we rob no one when we discover our own good. You take from no one when you discover a greater degree of livingness and live it today. Let's make a commitment to do that. And so there's an affirmation coming up on our screen, and I'm going to invite you wherever you are to say it along with me. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to enjoy my life. I deserve healthy, meaningful, loving relationships. I deserve creative me time. I deserve to say yes. I deserve to say no. And let's take it a step deeper. I choose happiness. I choose to enjoy my life. I choose healthy, meaningful, loving relationships. I choose creative me time. I choose to say yes. I choose to say no. And lastly, take a deep breath here. I use my yes to affirm and choose what I want. I use my no to affirm and choose what I want. Let's have a prayer together. So knowing that our consciousness has been given these great gifts of yes and of no, so we apply them to that greater degree of livingness we seek in each and every moment and in all that we do. Knowing that divine spirit is that animative force in your being and mind, that it is connected with the infinite, that is connected with a vision for the highest good for all. I embrace that vision now. I know it is planted like a seed in my heart. And as I make the choices, the yeses and the nos, I know that that seed of potential grows without obstruction. I know that there is a seed of health in the life of everyone who affirms this prayer today, that is being nurtured, uplifted, leading to peace, vibrancy, and vitality. I know that there is a seed of wholeness that is being nurtured and uplifted in each one of us that causes us to see right through the illusions of division, to hold that heart of wholeness for ourselves and humanity. I know that there is a seed of prosperity and abundance that is being nurtured by our choices, that leads us each to those opportunities that allows us to be even more receptive to prosperous and thriving living. And I know that there is a seed of forgiveness, of reconciliation, of mercy, and of grace that is being nurtured through our authentic choices to be transparent to that deep love that made each of us, sets us free, and yet never lets us go. Knowing that love is here today and tomorrow, may it guide us, may it uplift us, may it surround and inspire those that we love. We let it be in deep, deep gratitude. And so it is. Amen.
Every morning brings a new beginning. By your grace, another day to be. I awaken to the sun upon me shining, lighting the way for me to see. All things that I sought and the way I was taught stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Of yesterday I'm letting go. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the less than that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away.
Thank you, Jennifer Burnett and our Mile High Band. Thank you, Rob Lowe, Kent Rautenstrauss, Mike Marlier, even though you bring the delicious donuts that I have to say no to, and Bijou Barbosa. So grateful for all of you and your incredible talents. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us. And thank you for the incredible gifts that you continue to share with Mile High Church. You know, we spotlighted our youth ministry today, and it's been an affirmation for me in this challenge to find as many opportunities as there are challenges in this crisis, and to seek to make them so. And our youth ministry here has done such an incredible job with the mentorship of Dr. Barry Ebert and the leadership of Stacy Butters, our youth director, Monica Leota, our preschool director, creating this hybrid program that allows us the best opportunity to bring kids here safely. Michelle Scavetta, who's been leading our teen group for over a decade and leads our Next Gen ministry, keeping folks together. Nadine Cox leading our middle school. These are just incredible human beings, and we're doing everything we can to get our kids back here regularly on campus, and all of us big kids back here too. So thank you for all of your financial support of Mile High. Please continue to know you can mail a check. We love that best, especially when you send a little note, that you can text to give, the numbers on your screen, that you can give online and give in all sorts of ways. And no matter what you give, just know it's about staying in that giving flow. We are so blessed to be an abundant church and to continue to create thriving opportunities for all of us to grow in this together. So just taking that gift, we take a deep breath and we say our offering affirmation together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
Made a wrong turn once or twice, dug my way out, blood and fire, bad decisions, that's alright. Welcome to my silly life. Mistreated, misplaced, misunderstood, knowing it's all good. It didn't slow me down. Mistaken, always second guessing, underestimated. Look, I'm still around. Pretty please, don't you ever feel like you're less than perfect. Pretty please, if you ever feel like you're nothing, you are perfect to me. You're so mean when you talk about yourself. You were wrong. Change the voices in your head, make them like you instead. So complicated, look how we all make it, filled with so much hatred, such a tired game. It's enough, I've done all I can think of, chased down all my demons, I've seen you do the same. Oh, pretty please, don't you ever feel like you're less than perfect. Pretty please, if you ever feel like you're nothing, you are perfect. The whole world's scared, so I swallow the fear. The only thing I should be drinking is an ice cold beer. So cool and lying, and we try, but we try too hard. It's a waste of my time. Done looking for the critics, cause they're everywhere. They don't like my jeans, they don't get my hair. Exchange yourselves, and we do it all the time. Why do we do that? Why do I do that? Why do I do that? Yeah! Pretty please, don't you ever feel like you're less than perfect. Pretty please, if you ever feel like you're nothing, you are perfect.
And thank you again for joining us today and for spending time nourishing your soul in powerful ways through music, through words, and through prayer. And if you have a teen or tween in your life, or if you know somebody who does, invite them to join us this Thursday as Dr. Barry offers his workshop, Parenting Tweens and Teens with Love and Logic. It begins at 6:30 this Thursday. And this coming Sunday, Dr. Michelle and Reverend Josh have a new webinar available, Inspired Living, New Design for Living. And this week they're focusing on work. And then this coming Wednesday, join us again at 7 o'clock right here with Reverend Josh as he has more wisdom and as he shares his heart with us again. And so right now in this moment, let us claim our life and move into our day and our week with passion, purpose, and possibility. And so it is.
you.